Big news this hour. Donald Trump has narrowly escaped a shooting attempt while delivering a speech at a rally in Pennsylvania when several gunshots were fired at him. The incident occurred when Trump was in fact showing off a chart of the border crossing numbers when the apparent shots began. This took place sometime around 6:10 p.m. local time. As Trump was talking, a popping sound was heard and the former president put his right hand up to his right ear as people in the stands behind him appeared to be shocked. Now, as the first pop rang out, Trump grabbed his ear and crouched down. Let's put out those visuals, in fact, on our screen so that our viewers can see what was happening at that very moment as I am, in fact, describing it. If our team app says, yes, right there on your screens, you can see Donald Trump grabbing his right ear and then crouching down below the podium, of course, shielding him from the gunshots that were being fired at him. Confusion, chaos behind him as the spectators watch what is taking place. Trump, of course, surrounded by the US Secret Service agents. And in fact, it took 2 minutes from the moment of the first shot for Donald Trump to be safely evacuated to a waiting SUV. About 7 to 8 shots were fired. This is what reports are in fact saying at the moment. Several leaders from across party lines in the United States of America have reacted to this regard, condemned this incident. World leaders also speaking out. Prime Minister Modi has also tweeted this morning condemning the shootout that has taken place in the United States. We've heard Joe Biden as well state that while he is not aware that this is an assassination attempt or not, that angle is being probed by the Secret Service, and he has in fact in the meantime dialed Trump, spoken to him, as well as the governor of Pennsylvania. Eyewitness accounts in the meantime are trickling in. Eyewitnesses have stated that the bullets rattled around the grandstand. One hit the speaker tower and then chaos broke out. We hit the ground and then the police converged to the grandstands. In fact, a video has also come out showing some of the Secret Service snipers also engaging with a target on the opposite wall. It's being said that there was a distance of about 152 yards between Trump and the shooter. The shooter, of course, has been neutralized in the meantime. Joining us on the broadcast to discuss more are Ambassador Suresh Kumar Goyal, former diplomat, and Major General Sudhakarji, a defense expert. I'd like to go across to Major General Sudhakarji. Sir, thank you for joining us on the broadcast this morning and speaking to us. What is your very first reaction to this shooting that has taken place? It's taken place in broad daylight in the United States of America. We do know that gun laws are lax over there and shootouts are very common. But to see a former president of the US being targeted like this at a campaign rally, what is your very first reaction to these developments?
For getting me to your show. I'm just back to back out from a couple of other channels on the same issue. Reason being, I have just come back from USA after a long tour of almost all the provinces, or majority of the provinces. The first and foremost thing is my take. I have been going to USA quite regularly for past several years. My take on the whole issue is that the geopolitical or the global order is undergoing too much of flux, too much of turbulence. And USA being the only superpower, although we call it very frequently declining superpower, is going through many challenges internally. There is an internal factor, there is an external factor to this incident, although I'm mindful of the fact that it would be too premature to come to a conclusion whether it is assassination attempt or otherwise. I am also must share with the viewers that I've been to Dallas, where Kennedy had been assassinated way back in 60s, which was indicated by Donald Trump himself. Also, let's be mindful of the personality of the Donald Trump. Wherever I have been in USA in past, let's say 2 months' time, majority of the people have said it is the Donald Trump, despite the felony charges, despite he being branded as a convict, he is going to come back to power. He is the next president. Not that I'm trying to bias the opinion, nor the people of USA are going to be biased or prejudiced by this statement, But this is the general emotion and the feeling. If that is so, then what is it that has compelled the environment or the ecosystem of US to point at the former president or who's like a possible candidate? To me, it appears that the fundamentals of USA as and today have already entered a dark phase. Unless they take very serious and drastic measures, the declining status of a superpower may become a no superpower. It may turn out to be a third world country in foreseeable future. What are these fundamentals which are attributed or linked to this particular incident? The Article 5 in the Constitution, nobody can change. Nobody. I have spoken to many people. There is a deep state connected. There are gun industries connected, and their economy, the business will come to a halt. And Article 5 entitles a provision of a gun being possessed by a person of US citizen for self-defense. It is a country which is allowing them, not one, two of them, many of them. So it's a way of life. So therefore, if this Article 5 is to be changed, then I think many heads will roll and there will be a lot of friction within the party, intra-party and the inter-parties. One. But Donald Trump is one person who has often, at many a times, has indicated the time has come wherein this article has to undergo change. And he has shown very, very visible signs and promises that this has to be changed. Number two, the NATO is under jitters. If Donald Trump comes back to power, the European Union and the NATO, they are under jitters because the transatlantic relationship and over which the apex architecture of the global geopolitics of the world today is existing. That may actually give way to the fault lines. So that fault line is NATO has been told to fend for yourself by Donald Trump. Increase your defense expenditure
This is
to
something
minimum.
that Kamala Harris has in fact raked up earlier. I'd like to go across to Ambassador Suresh Goyal, who's also been waiting rather patiently with us. You of course heard what Major General Sudhakar ji has had to say about what's taken place. What's your take on what's happened? Clearly, the major security lapse has taken place. Secret Service, of course, protecting Donald Trump, considering that he is a former president of the United States of America. What do you make of this attack? And as Major General Sudhakar ji was saying, what do you think are the ramifications of this? Do you think this will give a boost to his campaign as well?
Two or three things here, Pia. First of all, it is shocking that such an incident should have taken place in a rally for the former president. This, I think, to my mind, is the first time when a shot has been fired at a political event in this manner. It is fortunate that former President Trump escaped with only minor injury, and that the Secret Service managed to really protect him the way they did. What is strange is for somebody carrying a gun, even though there is an easy availability of guns, somebody with a sniper gun to be able to target. Normally, American Secret Service is very effective. They usually have prior data, and they do sanitize the areas very effectively to minimize such threats. And therefore, it is very strange. Unfortunately, the person who attacked or who fired has been killed, and therefore, to my mind, investigating the whole event as to who was responsible and why, etc., will take some time. I do hope that they are able to get enough information and that anybody who tried to basically disrupt the political process in the USA or any country, in fact, for that matter, should be brought to task, because eventually in a democracy, a political process is the way people select, people elect, people express their opinion. Whatever Trump may be, whatever Biden may be, we also recall 4 years ago at the Capitol Hill, the kind of disruption provoked by Trump's supporters was also equally condemnable to that matter. So we should, I think, as a matter of fact, to have this kind of a violent activity in a political process has to be condemned, number one. And number two, impact on Trump's election campaign. As it is, Biden is already quite weak on the ground from the reports that we receive, and the Democrats are trying to basically, or they have been requesting him, they'll be suggesting that he should withdraw. This kind of a firing is certainly going to increase the sympathy for Trump. And therefore, most likely, his his percentage favorite vote in support would increase. At the same time, one should keep the fingers crossed. When theories of who benefited, who did not, begin to basically surface, people begin to question all kinds of things. Suffice it to say that it will be too early to comment on who will benefit and who will not benefit, and who. It will all depend upon how the investigations go, really speaking, Priya. So therefore, one should let it be really for the time being, and do hope that President Trump will continue with his political campaign and face all the judicial processes that are actually challenging him with the equal aplomb as before. Priya.
Indeed, you've spoken about political violence in the United States of America. We know that 4 former U.S. presidents were assassinated, whether Abraham Lincoln or William McKinley, John F. Kennedy, James Garfield. There have been several attempts that have taken place as well against Gerald Ford, Harry S. Truman, Ronald Reagan. We all remember that as well. So America does have a history of political violence. Will we see a resurgence of that again with this? Do you think that's going to happen? Because considering the fact that Secret Service has definitely boosted the amount of protection garnered and given to the presidential candidates, those who are in the fray, and the president as well, after the spate of incidents over the course of America's history?
I think there is already an increase in political violence in the USA, and I do not see how Genie could be put back in the bottle. And as you said, the assassination of presidents, I would put those were of a different nature as compared to a rally where the shot was fired, targeting a candidate in this manner. But I am afraid that the political violence is going to become a way of life in the USA, despite all the increased protection to Trump. But yes, the public there in the USA will now have to be faced. You remember Japan, after the prime minister candidate who was actually addressing a rally, and there was actually an assassination there. And the security increases. It has happened in India. It has become way of life. It will become way of life in the USA. Thank you, Pia. I have to go now.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, of course, sharing your perspective with what has taken place. I'd like to go back to Major General Sudhakarji. You've, of course, been listening rather patiently to Ambassador Goel and his take on what's taking place in the US as well. In the meantime, of course, we're getting to know that a press briefing of the FBI and the Secret Service will be taking place rather soon. But more details have come out with regards to the shooting itself. It seems that the shooter was about 150 meters or so, which is 164 yards away from where Trump was speaking. And there was, in fact, for reference, 150 meters is the distance at which a U.S. Army recruit must hit a scaled human-sized silhouette to qualify with the M16 rifle. In the meantime, Homeland Security Secretary has stated that they are taking every possible measure to ensure Trump's safety and security. Trump, in the meantime, has also come out and stated that he is fine now. He stated that the bullet pierced his ear, right ear in particular. Meanwhile, Major General Sudhakarji, I'd like to come back to you. What do you make of the security lapses? We are in fact running a video right now showcasing some of the Secret Service snipers who were present at the rally spring into action after the gunshots were heard.
Yeah, a very interesting and intelligent question you have raised. I must compliment you and NewsX for flagging the issue. How Kennedy was assassinated. Similar kind of thing had taken place. Somebody was trying to shoot at him at a point-blank range. Somehow he missed the target, and there was a sniper on the 6th floor of the adjoining building. And from the 6th floor, there were no trees. Now the tree line has come up. He took a pot shot, and he I think, fired 3 shots, first, second, and the third shot. And first shot had missed, just gone over the ear, like it happened with Trump. And the second and the third one perhaps knocked him down, if I remember correctly. So what I'm coming to is that, to your earlier question, I somehow fear that America is heading for a doomsday unless they take very serious and drastic steps to change the fundamentals. The fundamentals, as I understand, is the Constitution has to be revisited. It's about time. Article 5 has to be revisited. It has to be reframed. Conceptually, there is only one person in the history of America who has come overboard and pointedly stated that this will be changed. He's the man, Donald Trump. So, if he's the person who stated it in whatever form, mild form, semi mild, or strongest of articulations, then who are worst affected? The worst affected people are the deep state or the gun industry, because the economy of the gun industry is surviving on this article. And the people of America, they will be the second one to revolt because their way of life is based on 1, 2, 3 guns in the holster. So therefore, it is going to carry out a sea change. It has to be done in a very incremental manner. Third thing that next point I want to highlight is the divided society. Today, the family of USA, any family unit in USA is divided. They do not have any emotional the affiliation. They have no connection, and they start casting and breaking up at the fall of a hat. So therefore, what I am saying is that they need to take a relook. Maybe India is a better example. Yoga is just a start point, it's the tip of the iceberg. The very conceptual framework of culture of India is going to give lessons of longevity, endurance, and eternal stability for a country like US. It's a democracy. Third and most important thing is whatever is spoken outside the American continent, it has got a direct and indirect impact, Pia. And Donald Trump is one person. If you study his personality, he's straightforward, he's bold, he's blunt, even to the extent of antagonizing his personal staff. So look at the way in his previous tenure, he has pulled down from majority of the organizations and the groupings in the world order. And that's why. Why? Because as per him, the concept America should be focusing on is America first. Boots on ground, which America used to resort to earlier, given the fact that America has not won a single war outside anywhere in the world till now, except for the Second World War, where they had to take recourse to the nuclear weapon. So thereafter, I do not see the history is a great example of what we actually see and understand. So his focus is going to be contested by people, because if geopolitics is being evolved in this conceptual framework in his mind this way, perhaps the America as a superpower will be going through a journey of declining power, which is happening. So unless they take recourse to corrective measures, I personally feel that America is heading for a doomsday, and it is Donald Trump. He has, to the best of his capability, despite being a convict, despite having felony charges, although the Constitution of America does not debar such people who are convicts to come into the political campaign, go for the leadership if they're elected. It doesn't debar, it doesn't prohibit. Perhaps to my mind, Donald Trump is emerging to be of foregone conclusion as the next president in the American environment today. And therefore, this particular incident of attempted assassination, too premature to say anything like this, but what else? If it has just gone over the year and he's bleeding, is it not close to an assassination? What are you waiting for? I would, as a militaryman, say you start your investigation by saying it was an assassination attempt from reverse gear. Thereafter, keep discounting the issue and come to a kind of accidental kind of a thing that might have happened. To me, it appears to be a highly sinistrous design of internal factors as also external factors, because the NATO is also petrified. China is petrified, by the way. Biden has been soft pedaling. Now, Donald Trump is the only person who gives a bold statement, and he has assured the environment that the moment he comes to power, the Russia-Ukraine war will come to a halt. There will be a ceasefire. Similar kind of steps he may initiate. He had initiated during his time about the Abraham Accord, if you recall. And the same thing may be given an extension. Israel and Hamas conflict and the Hezbollah conflict may come to an end. Also, the Indo-Pacific may be tackled in a different manner, because the enemy number one, as per the strategic security document of 2022 of USA, issued by the Pentagon, it clearly states that China is the number one enemy of USA. If it is China, then why USA is wasting out its limited resources towards Ukraine? Why is it wasting out towards the Middle East? Why open new fronts? So therefore, I think Donald Trump holds a lot of promise and I say potential as a future leader, as the president of India, which is not liked by many, many people because of his personality, because of his abruptness in his behavior, and decision making also appears quite awry and out of context at times. But he has his own vision and framework clear in his mind. He's looking for America first. Time has come, America has to invest time, resources, and commitment for the growth and development of America internally, not externally. Back to you, Pia.
All right, sir. With that, I would like to thank you for sharing your view in a very comprehensive manner as well. But I have something very interesting to show our viewers in the meantime. This, of course, to give you a little more context as to what has taken place. If you can take that visual full frame so that they can get a clear picture. Right here you can see a map of Pennsylvania. This is one of the 50 states in the United States of America, and this red box marked out here is where exactly the rally was held. It's the approximate location of the rally that was held somewhere north of Pittsburgh at Butler County. At the Butler Farm Showgrounds is where the Trump rally was held. You can of course see Pittsburgh marked right over here, and to the north of that at Butler County at the Butler Farm Showgrounds, this is the exact location where the rally was held. And to provide a little more context, this is a satellite view of the area. Number 3 over here in this view is the ground where Donald Trump was holding his rally and where his supporters had gathered in order to support him. What is marked as number 2 is where exactly the gunman was located. The gunman, of course, as reports are saying, was located around 164 yards or 150 meters away from Donald Trump. And number 1 is where the Secret Service snipers, we've been running that video showing all of you viewers where exactly and when exactly the Secret Service snipers had sprung into action. So this is an overview in order to provide you viewers a greater context. Of course, number 3 that I'm encircling over here, down here, this is where the rally was held. This is where the shooter was standing at point number 2, and this point number 1 is where Trump's Secret Service was of course out there engaging in action against the gunman, and they later neutralized the gunman as well.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.